So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike your match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. It's a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling on Tuesdays, but also every other day of the week, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Saturday afternoon's live fire fun and frivolity show. We are also simulcasting audibly on Clubhouse, so if you want to hear it but you don't want to look at it, no problem. You can just go over to the Clubhouse app and check it out there. If you have some questions for my guest that will be on here for the next 30 minutes or so, I'll be happy to add you in through Clubhouse as well. So what are we doing here on a Saturday? Well, when the president of Primo Grills tells you about a great event and a great first-time event that they have going on at their plant in Missouri, and he wants to do a live hit from it, you figure out how to get it done, and I'm happy Nick is taking advantage of the show in this way because it's a different day. It's a special event for them, and now other folks can see what's happening there as well. Plus, I get to interview Nick on some other live fire topics that are going on in the marketplace as well. So without any further ado, we race to the hotline and welcome back the president of Primo Grills, Nick Bauer, joining me. Hey, Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
I am happy to have you aboard a special show on Saturday when you reached out. Man, it's been a month or 5-6 weeks ago and said, hey, we're thinking about putting on this, or we're going to put on this event, but we'd love to figure out a way to incorporate the show to get a little bit of hype around it and share what's going on with everybody else as it's happening. I was like, man, we gotta do this. I would have preferred to have been there in person, but of course, as we both know, I'm not going to be here in Cleveland in a few short hours. We'll be headed east to the ocean, but otherwise, I would have loved to have been out there to take part in it. So let's talk a little high level about that. What is happening? Where is it happening? And then we can build in from there.
First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to have me. As the people can see, I'm currently sitting inside the factory. Every 5 years, we have a family day. So our employees bring their families and they tour the factory. So we did that down here for us. And we also did a Primo bash, we call it. So first time ever, we've invited local Primo owners, potential Primo owners, non-Primo owners, any consumer, any Primo fans that wanted to come tour our factory and see where the product's made. So I'm sitting right in the middle of the tour. So you may see people walking behind me because those are people who just wanted to come see the factory, meet the people who make the grills. You know, our vendors are here, the employees and their families are here. So it's been a really nice thing.
How much planning goes into a Primo bash, especially considering it's 90 years in the making?
This was been my idea for a couple of years, and I've verbalized it to my marketing department. And then about 4 months, I'm like, "Hey, let's do it." So it came together quickly, and it's our first time. So we're learning. So there'll be more planning when we do it next year, but probably three or 4 months or so. This is the first time we did it. It's been a great event. So between employees and their families and Primo consumers and sales reps and distributors and dealers and vendors, we probably have 100 people here. We started at 9 in the morning and it's 2 o'clock now. So we'll go a couple more hours. Our social media guys and ladies are cooking. So they're just did lobsters and scallops in the Primo. There's steaks, there's sausages, there's pizza, there's wings. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great day.
From a business side, is this something that if I'm touring the plant and I'm bowled over by how awesome it is, I also have an opportunity to buy something directly, or is it still pushed back through the dealers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we where we are in Missouri, there's not a dealer within a while. So first time ever, we've actually are selling some of the smaller things. If you want accessories and this and that to consumers, it's obviously not something we normally do. We're not at the moment direct to consumer.
Right.
So that's also something that we're learning. First time ever taking. So I love seeing these people walk out with bags of boxes of histories and pieces of and accessories right now. Today's to tell our story, and the more people who hear about our story, the more successful the brand's going to be.
We're constantly getting new listeners. People just might be tooling around social media today and looking at us chat, decide to pop in. They have no idea what Primo Grill is about, but it's even bigger than Primo Grills, as you had mentioned. It's Empire Comfort Systems in 90 years. So how does it all unfold within a definitive period of time?
So my story, my family story, we are a U.S.-based manufacturer that was founded by my great-grandfather in 1932. So we've always been North America, and now we have companies up in Quebec City and Virginia and Belleville, Illinois, and Missouri. So now we're in multiple states, multiple countries. But we are North American-based manufacturing. So we produce what we sell. We don't buy it from China and say we're a manufacturer when someone else makes it in China or Mexico. So that's our story. And that's why we purchased Primo, because they are also, we're the only U.S.-made Kamado, and that's who they are too. They're not a wholesaler. They don't buy it from a vendor and then sell it to someone else. We're the only, to my knowledge, in the world, ceramic business that actually make their own, they control their own quality. So that's who we are. My family's been doing this for 90 years on August 25th, and that's who we'll always be.
I don't know if a lot of people understand what that actually means. So when you say you're a U.S. based and the product is manufactured, but then you look at a number of the other ceramic cookers in the market that may or may not lay claim to some type of housing here in the States, like where does it differ? How is it your one way and everybody else is different?
So the green one, they buy from a tile manufacturer in Mexico. The red one comes from the same Kamado factory that sells us 5 other brands, and there's some out there. So, they say they have their quality control people, so they're sending their employees down there, but this is our factory. Right across from me is where the ceramics are mixed. It's where they're formed. It's where they're filmed, and it's where they're packaged. So it's creating American jobs. It takes a local force to do that. We believe in U.S. based. My company in Quebec gets mad when I say U.S. based. I have to say North American based manufacturing. We believe in creating jobs here, not somewhere else.
Nick, how has being a part of the family business impacted how you manage the company today?
So it's, as I tell people, it's the greatest legacy. It's the greatest opportunity. It can be the greatest curse. I forget what's like 3 or 4% of family businesses make it to the 4th generation. So it's pressure, it's opportunity. But there's no doubt in my mind that I was put on the earth to do what I do every single day. Up until COVID hit, it didn't even feel like work. And I've been doing this for 15 years now. So of 15 years, maybe 2 or 3 actually felt like work. But it's a lot of pressure, and it's family business. And business is easy. Family businesses are hard. Business is just simple. You take a problem and you solve a problem. In families, it's not that simple. So it's the greatest opportunity. It's the greatest challenge. It is all of the above. But I don't know how many people in this world can say that they truly love what they do every day, and I can. So that is what I do. And I've been doing it 15 years. I'm 38 years old. I got about another 30 years left. I just had a daughter. My sister has 3 kids. In the next 30 years, we have from a 6-month-old to my niece is turning 10 next week. I hope in the next 30 years to be one of those 4 will want to take my job. And I have 30 years to help them do that transition.
Family, I'm sure, plays a big part in this, but what's the best part of running Primo Ceramic Grills?
Well, so the grill side of our business is like 10% of our overall sales, but it's like 90% of the fun. No one's going to come. Maybe I won't say anyone, but we sell tens of thousands of gas logs a year. I don't know if someone wants to see where their gas log is made. Maybe wood stoves. People really identify with wood stove brands like the Dills, but it's a lot more fun. I mean, we're cooking with our friends. We're cooking with our family. We're cooking with our employees' family. We have the guy. He had this lobster that was bigger than my arm that we just cooked and served to people. So it's social. It's just being together in a meal and having that one-on-one person time where you don't have a phone, you don't have a screen, you're distracted. respected. It's that human to human is what I love about Primo.
Aside from being U.S. based, as you said, you're right across the street from your mixing of ceramics, and then mostly or all North American manufacturing, if we include Canada as well. What makes Primo the best in your mind? Obviously, you're biased, of course, but if there's any way to pull Nick Bauer, president, out, if you're looking at it from a potential consumer side, what do you think puts Primo Grill ahead of some of the other ones?
Yeah, so there's two main things. Obviously, we touched on the U.S. based manufacturing. If you would poll our consumers, 95% would say it's the U.S. based manufacturing, and it's the oval shape. So it's that the founder of Primo, only one to ever do oval, got a patent on it 10 plus years ago, and it's oval beats round. That's our simple tagline we have, because your pieces of meat, they're not round. Your briskets are not round. Your hog's not round. So it's that oval shape that allows a true two-zone cooking. So where we're doing a rotisserie on one side direct, and we're cooking something else, we're doing a brisket, it allows for that true two-zone cooking. The rounds say they can do two-zone cooking, but they really can't. Not as well as oval.
The first time you were on the show, Nick, you had disclosed to us, quite honestly, I might add, that prior to COVID, you weren't necessarily cooking a lot on the Primo, and actually that pandemic forced you to learn the cooker, and then quickly you become a fan. It seems odd that maybe you're running a company with something that maybe you should be using every day, but everybody's different, so it can be a little intimidating, as you had mentioned on the show as well. But now that you are an expert at cooking on the brand that you're also president of, what's your favorite thing to cook?
I will never claim I'm an expert. Watching these guys cook today is these guys are experts. I'm a gas grill guy. I always been, because my family bought a Brawl Master 20 years ago. Right. So I do steaks, I do scallops. So we just serve bacon scallops. I'm not really the slow cooking guy, because maybe I don't have patience. Prime rib, we did chicken wings, we did just that type of stuff. I'm not whole hog, or I've never cooked a brisket. Probably awful for me to say, but I'm your guy that has grills. So if you're out there and you only had gas grills and ceramics scare you, hell, they scared me too. But if I can figure it out, anyone can figure it out.
Nick, who's your grilling inspiration?
Probably my earliest memories of grilling was my dad would make ribs. We'd be drinking beer with my dad when way younger when we weren't 21, and my best memories of my dad loved ribs.
Nick Bauer joining us from Primo Grills. He's the president. They are at the Primo Bash in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, and it's consumers and customers and non-customers, just interested parties and dealers and employees and all that fun stuff. And that's going on. Does that go on all day, Nick? Are you getting ready to close down around 5 or 6 or what?
Yeah, we started at 9, so they brought their families first. Primo thing, I think, goes up 4 or 5, but we'll see. If you very rarely, when I tell my friends barbecues and it actually ends at 6. So we'll what happens.
Just your overall thought as you're 6 hours in or so on day one, knowing what we know about the planning. It was been an idea for a couple of years, as you had mentioned before, but now it's executed and actually happening. How do you think it's coming off?
It's so awesome. I'm having a blast. This is by far the best part of my job. So I've employees I have I've met their family members. I've met, the social we've used. I've talked to one of our vendors. It's like the perfect, amazing blend. The top employees have brought their families and meeting. It's just, this is, to me, this is what makes life and work, and you blend it together with families. I wish we could do this every single weekend. Because this is how you really build a culture, and this is how you really build something that's going to last for a while. And we've only been in Missouri now for going on 2.5, 3 years, so it's a very young culture. It's startup. We started from zero
employees.
Now we have about 100 down here in about 2.5 years. So I wish we could do this every weekend, but it's great. I mean, the plan is to do this, if not every year, every other year. This is the fun part of the job.
How is the factory? I know the first time you were on, there was a move incorporated. There was the whole build out, that whole thing. But now that we're into it a couple of years later, how is the new factory working out? And how do you find that investment to be?
It's great. we built this basically only knowing what we're going to do with about 10% of it. It's about 150,000 square feet. So I don't know if we were lucky or smart or good planning or just blind luck, but it has allowed us to grow. Because if we would have waited to COVID and then demand and then to build a factory now is almost impossible, twice as much money. It's probably going to end up being one of the smartest decisions that I've made in my career.
I don't want to keep you too much longer here, but I do want to ask you a business question as we look ahead. As the year turned, Nick, I had talked to a number of other grill manufacturers, dealers, you name it, who said, hey, just so you know, we're starting to see inventory build, or our dealers or our retailers that we're supplying aren't asking for more stuff to hit the floors because they say they're fine. We're going to start refusing containers to coming over from China because, quite simply, things are starting to burst. And nobody was talking about it at the turn of the year, and now we're at the middle of August. You've seen Danson's do layoffs with Pit Boss. You've seen Traeger reduce their workforce by 14%. I just read a report on Cookout News. Weber has had similar issues. What has it been like for Primo, and perhaps more importantly, what does it look like from today going forward over the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, so I follow all that information, and it's the COVID 300% double 2x crazy demand is definitely peaked and is not there anymore. So we're now into market share. Primo, the very percentage of the market. I didn't see this coming. They weren't paying. You look at Weber, and they're relatively flat for 10 years. They're up 60. They project that's statistically that's not going to happen. So if people for this see this coming, well, that's shame on them. It's time to get back to work and get out there and sell.
Nick is the president of Primo Grills. They're having Primo Bash right now in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Nick, I won't keep you any longer. Certainly appreciate the time you've given to the show here today just to talk about it, give us a little insight, and continued success with the rest of the day. And we'll have you back on the big show again here real soon to recap.
And thank you so much. And if anyone wants to come, we'll do it promised. So just follow our social media. We'll try to give more than 2 or 3 months up on a date like we did this year. So, and hope to see you next. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you coming on. There he is, Nick Bauer, the president of Primo Grill. PrimoGrills.com is the website, of course. And if you are out in the general vicinity of Poplar Bluff and you know where the manufacturing facility is, stop in. It sounds like, it's 3:30 here Eastern, so it's 2:30 there, so they got at least a couple hours going. And as Nick said, who knows? He's never been at a barbecue where it's had a definitive end time, and it's actually stopped at that definitive end time. So they might be hanging out a little longer than that. So good look again at the history of Empire Comfort Systems, how Primo Grill wraps into that. Did you remember or recall they also own Royal Master? Yeah, gas grill, right. And then recapping the great event that's going on today. Well, once again, would love to be there in person, but maybe next year, depending on what the schedule looks like. Would love to get out there and do a live remote just like this. Don't forget, we got a brand new, really big barbecue show coming up this Tuesday. Stephen Reichlin is in, Mike Lang is in, Susie Bullock is in, and believe it or not, Rod Gray will make his first appearance as CEO Casey of the KCBS next Tuesday as well, so stay tuned for that. Follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on all the social media platforms. And how do I always leave? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.